and found him trying to hold up a train. The bandit seemed to be quite inexperienced and turned out to be a timid fellow who couldn't even get his gun out of his holster. Trigger Jr. bucked the bandit off, and the train engineers get their hands on him just as Roy rode up. Roy asks him what the big idea was of stealing Trigger Jr. The bandit makes a break and runs for the horses again. Roy tackles him and brings him to the ground just as a shot rings out. A tough-looking man gallops up, holding a rifle on all of them. He snarls at Roy.
Take your mitts off the masked man, cowboy. Dick Dolan is dealing in here to help out a fellow road agent. I'll find out later what he's doing in my territory.
As Roy drops the clumsy bandit and holds his hands up, the man with the gun tells the engineers, last picture, top row.
All right, climb into your iron horse, boys. Highball out of here. You, Jesse James, get on your cayuse. And don't try nothing, cowboy.
The timid masked bandit runs for Trigger Jr. again, saying,
Hey, thanks for liberating me, Mr. Dolan. We road agents must stick together.
Roy makes a jump at him, first picture, bottom row, saying,
You're not stealing Trigger Jr. again. He's Trigger's son, and he belongs to me.
The man on horseback yells,
I told you to stay out of this, cowboy. Maybe this'll teach you that Dick Dolan means what he says.
He knocks Roy out with a rifle butt. At this moment, the engineer who has climbed into the cab of the locomotive reaches for a lever and gives it a quick jerk. Hot steam shoots out at the horse on the outlaw with a gun. The horse prances about as the engineer, last picture, yells to Roy, who's lying on the ground.
Roy, watch out! You'll be trampled!
Oh, my goodness, look. Roy is lying on the ground unconscious right underneath the hooves of the horse that's prancing about there.
Yeah, and look, that crazy, clumsy bandit is running for Trigger Jr. again. He wants to get away from both Roy and Dick Dolan.
I wonder why he's afraid of Dolan.
Well, next week we'll find that out and see whether Roy comes to in time to prevent Trigger Jr. from being stolen again. Now let's turn over the page.
All right. Look, there's Flash Gordon on page 2. You remember Flash is on the moon, and he was captured by the moon man named Rock.
Yes, a mad scientist from Earth who had succeeded in overthrowing the good leaders of the Beetlemen, and now was ruler on the moon.
And just as the good Beetleman was helping Flash Gordon get loose from the ropes he was tied up with, Rock came out again and aimed his gun at Flash and said he was going to kill him. Quick, read and we'll see what happens next.
Very well, here we go with Flash Gordon. Riga-riga-doon-doon, saskramatash. Let's have music for Heroic Flash. Flash has barely finished melting the spun glass ropes that bound Dale and Professor Bright when Rock appears on the scene and snarls,
Drop that torch or I'll fire!
While Rock's attention is centered on Flash, Cor, the Beetleman, steals up behind him. But Rock senses danger and whirls around, blasting wildly with his ray gun. Flash, last picture top row, takes advantage of Rock's momentary distraction to charge at him with a blazing torch. The flame touches off the charge on the Moon Tyrant's ray gun, and the weapon backfires. And Rock vanishes in a white-hot blast of light. First picture bottom row, the noise of the struggle in the cavern attracts a swarm of Beetlemen. Speaking by telepathy through the friendly King Cor, Flash addresses them. The tyrant Rock is gone. You moon men are free. Cor will lead you again to live in peace with the earth. The moon men accept Flash as their friend and assign a crew of mechanics to repair his space rocket. Flash makes a friendly gesture in return, inviting the moon men to send one of their number as a visitor to the earth. To seal the friendship pact, Cor offers a token gift, saying, The Earthman Rock collected these shiny medium crystals. Perhaps you would like them. Flash and Dale stare in amazement, because the shiny crystals are huge diamonds.
Oh, look, he has a whole basket full of those diamonds, and they're each as big as a ball.
Yes, if Flash takes those back to Earth, he'll be a millionaire.
My, isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
I'm so happy that he's a friend of the Beetleman. And now the people on the moon and the people on the earth will be friends, and they won't have any more trouble.
Well, let's hope that's the way things will work out. Now?
Well, now it's time for Dick's Adventures, isn't it?
It is. So let's go over to the last page and Dick's Adventures.
Do you remember Dick is at West Point, which is a fort that's commanded by General Benedict Arnold?
Yes, and Dick is suspicious that Benedict Arnold is up to no good. The general has him secretly guide an English officer, a Major Andre, through the American lines.
Yes, and I think that this Major Andre is a spy. And if General Benedict Arnold has any dealings with him, I think he's back.
Well, let's find out more about it right now. Here we go with Dick's Adventures. Say the magic words with me. Rickety-pack, kazack, kazick. Let's have music for Adventurous Dick. Under pretense of negotiating for the exchange of Revolutionary War prisoners, General Benedict Arnold, Commandant of West Point, meets secretly at night with British Major Andre. But dawn comes, and Andre can't get back to his lines. Dick receives orders to hide the enemy officer in a neighboring farmhouse. As they approach the farmhouse, a dog announces they're coming. The farmer opens his door, and on being shown the note from Benedict Arnold, the farmer, last picture top row, reluctantly agrees to give Andre shelter until nightfall. Upon being shown to a room, Dick and Major Andre prepare to relax until night. First picture next row. Dick sees Major Andre peer nervously through the curtained window, and deeply suspicious of treason, Dick ponders on how to get a look at the paper which he knows is hidden in Andre's boots. Noticing that Major Andre is overly vain of his appearance, Dick says, as he sees him take off his boots, "They could stand a good polishing, sir." Andre hands his boots to Dick, who polishes them. But the British officer supervises watchfully. Finally, Andre lies down to take a nap, his boots beside the bed. Sometimes light fingers can outwit sharp eyes. While Andre rests, Dick, last picture second row, steals a glimpse of the map of West Point with all the gun batteries clearly marked for enemy eyes. But spies don't necessarily have to be sleeping when their eyes seem shut, as Dick discovers too late. As Dick is reading the note, first picture bottom row, suddenly, oh! From behind him, a blow on the head knocks him out. It's Andre, who has seen Dick reading the secret plans. Retrieving the treasonable plans, Andre quickly dresses, slips from the house, steals a horse from the barn, and speeds under cover of darkness to the British lines, only a few miles down the Hudson. Last picture, in an upper room of the farmhouse, a dazed Yankee sergeant struggles furiously to get himself free. It is Dick who comes to, finding himself gagged and bound and lying in the room of the farmhouse. And Major Andre and the papers gone.
To see what was in those papers just then, he should have waited until a safer time.
Yes, I think you're right.
Maybe the farmer, though, maybe he'll hear Dick kicking on the floor or something, and then he'll come in and help him get loose, and then they can send somebody to catch that Major Andre.
We'll find out next week, because now it's important that Major Andre gets caught. You see, if the English get those plans of the fort, they'll know exactly how to capture it and take it away from the Americans.
Oh, I can't wait to see if they do stop him.
Well, now what?
Oh, let's see. Let's read Rusty Riley. Here he is at the bottom of the page. You remember last week that me and Smith had knocked Tex out with a rock when they got in a fight, and then he ran towards the locomotive, and he was going to try to escape on it.
Yes, and by the time the sheriff and the state policeman looked up, he was starting the locomotive.
Please read now and see if they catch him.
Very well. Here we go with Rusty Riley. Gallop and run till the road is dusty. Give us music for his horse and Rusty. Tex hears the locomotive starting up. He exclaims,
"Hey, don't let that man get away, Sheriff. He's an enemy agent. He's wanted by the FBI.
One of the posse exclaims,
"Yeah, and if he gets that engine on the downgrade, we'll never catch him."
The sheriff says, "Come on, men." The state trooper exclaims, last picture top row, "Great guns. He's on the downgrade with the throttle wide open." The sheriff says, "Well, he won't go far." "Well, what do you mean he won't go far, Sheriff?" "Well, there's a hairpin turn near the bottom of the grade. That there engine won't hold the rails over 15 miles an hour." They watch the locomotive as it nears the bottom of the hill. Faster and faster it goes as it nears the curve. Then, as it hits the curve, its wheels leave the track, and over it goes. The trooper exclaims as they run toward the track, "You were right, Sheriff. We left the rails all right. And there's that fellow. He must have jumped." The sheriff, seeing Smith lying still beside the track, says,
"And he'll be mighty lucky if he ain't dead."
A moment later, Rusty and Tex are watching as the sheriff and the trooper examine Smith, who's unconscious. The sheriff says,
Yeah, he's in bad shape, but he'll live. I think he's got a broken leg.
The trooper replies, There's a shack with a phone down the track a bit. I'll get a doctor. Tex says,
If you don't mind, I'd like to make an important call, too.
Last picture, a little later, at Milestone Farm, Mr. Miles hangs up the phone and says to his daughter, Patty,
Well, that was Tex, Patty. He and Rusty are safe. I'll tell you all about it in a minute, but first I've got to call the FBI.
Oh, goody. At last Mr. Miles knows that Tex and Rusty are all right. It's been a long time since Tex and Rusty have talked to him.
Yes, you bet it has.
Isn't that wonderful, though? Tex and Rusty are safe from any more trouble with that mean man Smith, and now Rusty has his secret plans, and you know what? I'll bet you he'll be a hero when he hands them over to the FBI, won't he?
I think he will, but we'll find that out next week.
All right. I'll surely be here, Mr. Comic Weekly Man.
So will I. And now that's all the time I have. But before I go, here's that nice man with some more interesting information. Well, honey, and all you boys and girls, I've got to go now.
All right, Mr. Comic Weekly Man, but I'll be waiting for you next week.
Okay, that's a date. And a date with all you boys and girls. Be sure to meet me with our little friend, Miss Honey, next week when I read Puck the Comic Weekly. For I'm the Comic Weekly Man, the jolly Comic Weekly Man. I'll be back to read the funnies to you happy boys and honeys. Don't forget, boys and girls, see you all next week. Your friend, the Comic Weekly Man, the jolly Comic Weekly Man.